going on, guys? So today we're back in the garage. Story of my life. It's late, I work late, tired, but yeah, power through it. I think what we're gonna do today, you know, I gotta finish up the brakes and all that, but I think I'm gonna take a break from the brakes. And you just need some kind of brake lines run and stuff like that. But the ugly job is finishing off the floors. I did the one toe board on the passenger side, so I gotta do the driver's side so I can buzz that in, and then weld all the way across whatever I gotta do there. I didn't finish across, well, I didn't do the wheel tubs on both sides, and then just right by the, I guess, the rear window section E, whatever you want to call it is, which is fine. I'll just need a few, just plug weld it, then I gotta seam seal it, and the floors are done. That means it's ready for carpet, it's ready for the seats to go in, the shifter, all those sort of things I can mess around with. This is the only section that's kind of left, and then worst case I just gotta do a little bit of grinding. I don't know if I'm gonna body work this thing or what I'm gonna do. Again, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm actually pretty proud of these floors. I think they came out fantastic, so I like to be easy for the guy to flip the floor up and go, oh yeah, brand new floors. Whoever's gonna buy it, right? That poor sucker. So yeah, we'll get that kind of dialed in. I think that's gonna be a fair bit of screwing around, especially on this side around the brake pedal. I took the clutch assembly all out. I'm gonna keep it all for myself because I'm selfish like that. I think I got some more miscellaneous floor pan material or something else kind of jam in there and go. This side is a little worse. It goes up a little higher, and like I said, it's got the e-brake and the high-low beam switch, so I'll probably just chop all that out and do the same thing, get it kind of welded in or put in, cut out, welded in. Go from there, use my little tracing paper. And then the back, I think I'm going to do it from underneath, so I'll probably jack it up, pull the wheels, and just weld the where the wheel tub would join the floor, and kind of just give it a few buzzes there, and again, just seam seal. That's nothing's real structural. I got it all the way across the back, all the way across the front. It's real good to the rockers, so it ain't going nowhere. It's strong. I'm stoked on it. And then really I was clean up the rockers a little bit with some weld, and I might just put a schmuck of filler in there just to do that rough sanding before I go too crazy. I got a bunch of glass, that's from my good buddy Josh, who I met off Instagram. Super cool guy. He's actually in Saskatchewan. I haven't even opened the package yet. I should go do that. I'll go that right now. But he sent me some glass and a few other things, which I gotta say, I really appreciate that, man. So thank you very much if you're watching this. So we'll jam on that. See how the night goes. Quick commercial break. We have these new shirts coming out. This is our new Christmas shirt. It's got the 57 Chevy. Look at all that cool stuff. So that's now live on the Teespring site, which we'll put a link in the description. I got a new shirt on. Check this one out. Oh, Challenger shirt. Everyone wanted one of those. You can't go wrong with it. And if somehow you've forgotten, 57,000 subscribers, we're giving that thing away. So click the button. And we have senior citizen sizes, meant to be tucked into your jeans. Well, any excuse not to start working on the floors until I pull the junk out that Josh let me. So check him out. He's on Instagram. Shade Tree Mechanical. This guy, him and his buddy, I don't know, I guess they're pretty close. They both went out to the West Coast. He bought a 55 Chevy, and his buddy bought a some sort of Mustang notchback. And they drove her back. He's in Saskatchewan or something like that, which is just next province over from me. Drove through the Coke Hall and everything, so he's crazy. Go to his Instagram, make him make some videos. This is what he sent me. Maybe a two-handed job here. Look at this. What is this? But it's glass. Oh, with the channel on it and everything. Oh, sweet. I think it was, I already said there, two fronts and one back or something, but I'll peel it apart and we'll see what it is. So this minty guy, two sections of rear glass, one side, which is awesome. The back look, they're green, which is kind of cool. And works out great because I do have one piece of glass in that door, no regulator. That side's smashed, that side's bunk. I got one side, so I can make it all work out, which is pretty slick. So thank you very much, sir. Look at that. It even came with the whatever, the little seal, and this piece here. I actually had to buy these for the 55 when I converted it from a 4-door to 2-door, and they were like 50 bucks each. And a couple of little the Tri-5 Chevys have this little strap that goes between, like, on the tail light, the brake light, and then it's reverse light. There's a little strap runs in there, so I'll put those on my car. All right, it's floor time. All right, so I just kind of started blindly cutting until the metal was not junk. So here's one piece I cut out. You can see right there, that's where the high-low beam switch was. So on these Tri-5s, it comes through the floor, and then just this side's on the inside and this is on the outside. So it's a little weird. It's in the elements. Now it is like there's the inner wheel well or whatever, but I always just, it's the same 3 wires, power in, high-low. Snip the end off, put your standard floor clicker that's on everything ever. So that's that. The other thing, I guess I need the light still. Dummy. So here is your park brake. So it's pretty simple. It's the way they work is it's straight out, it locks, you turn and push in. And it's a cable, so it's a bit goofy. It runs around though. Right here there's a little wheel, and right down here there's a little wheel that it kind of fits through. The bottom wheel obviously we're gonna have to remove. Probably cut it out and rebolt it, and that's pretty simple. But yeah, otherwise the side's not really that bad. The patch is a little bit bigger, but doesn't go quite as far into the tunnel, and it's actually a little easier on the side here. It's got a nice little edge I can kind of grind down, lap the metal over, butt weld it across the front, down the side of the transmission tunnel, and then right across on the fold of the floor, and go from there. So I'll get this kind of cleaned up. We'll get the new piece just set in, get all cleaned up, clean up all the metal I mean for welding, and start pulling the trigger. Well, I was working on the floors. I got everything kind of tackled in. Then Danielle sends me a text. She's inside. I don't know if you guys as old ladies ever do this, but she ordered movie theater popcorn. Just got delivered. It's a pretty good argument to go inside. The other thing is it's about 10 o'clock, and so I've got this thing all kind of tackled in. I'll show you that. I did it in 2 pieces this time, because I found it was easier to get in there, and I just, nice little seam there. And it's got lots of strength to it. It's got a lot of little bends. That's why I like that. Actually, 2 bends I kind of put together. I still got to trim it up along the side of the tunnel, but it's pretty close. And I mean down here, I'll just burn that in like nothing. A few spot welds up on that side. It's actually double wall, and so that'll be nice and strong. Seam seal me done. The problem I run into is it's got all this like 70-year-old cardboard, whatever it may be, insulation stuff. I ripped a lot of it out, but you're welding here, it's sparking like crazy, and I'm worried about catching this thing on fire. So instead of jamming till, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, then immediately going to bed, I think I'm going to shut her down right now. I'm actually going to spray this down with just some Windex or water, whatever I got in the garage. You can see it smoking. It'll show up. Something is just smoldering. So I'm going to hose it all down, go in, have a little break, come back out before I shut the lights off, and just make sure there's no car fire, because I'd hate to burn the whole garage down over some stupid thing like this. But so yeah, didn't get as much as I wanted to tonight. Not story of my life. But tomorrow, oh, and the light's failing. Tomorrow, hopefully I can get off work at a regular hour, and then buzz that in real quick, seam seal it, paint it, and then we'll get under the car. Alright, see you guys tomorrow. Alright, where are we? Next day. I've done nothing other than I kicked over a box of self-tappers. So where I left it, I had the pan kind of roughly tackled in there, so I think I'll just set up the lapse camera. We'll start cutting and buzzing and welding, get that all dialed in, probably set a bunch of old insulation on fire. We can do that. Then I want to get this thing up in the air. I can seam seal the front, get that done. The front will be 100% done, and then like I said, just got to get the back dialed in, and then the floors will be done on this thing. That's a pretty big win. Well, a lot of screwing around later, got it all in, seam sealed it. Up in the corner was a little tight to get in there, so I actually ended up welding it on the front side, firewall side, whatever you want to call it. So that's all in, seam sealed, ready to go. Let that tack up, and we'll fog it with some black paint. In the meantime, I'm just going to clean up a little bit in here, and we'll get this thing up in the air so we can get under it and get, because I got to do all the sills, which will be pretty easy, just a bunch of tack bolts the whole way around. And then we can seam seal that all up. And the wheel tubs, probably pull this junk out of here so I actually know what I'm looking at in there, but yeah. Alright, got her up on stands. Cleaned out the inside, gave the front a quick splash paint. But, yeah, you guys have seen that before. You know, I popped the trunk, I forgot. This truck's so, this car is so crazy. Like, the floor was so rotted and the rockers and all that, but the trunk floor is just, like, perfect. This has one little spot back there I gotta fix, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things, because on, like, my 55 and on Danny's car, I think, 55 I had to do, like, the whole back section and this piece and the trunk floor, and, like, it was just ugly. So, I don't know, I think it's pretty good. Underneath, I'll show you what I'm going to do. So now, I have to finish across the back there, which I obviously did kind of most of it, but I got to do the corners. And I'll show you this first. So, this is the panel I put in. Underneath is pretty rotten, so I'm going to just put a new piece in there, I think. It's got a hole there too. But, just kind of slide around. Like, this is how well this stupid floor fit. I love it. Like, that's the inner rocker, that's the outer rocker. Like, look at that. I'll just put a pair of vice grips on there and bzz, 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 give it a few buzzes, and I mean, that's done. And then, like, I'm done. Now, along the back, oh, this is awkward. So you can see here, maybe you can't if I use the light. I've welded it all, so I'm just going to grind it down. Now, I haven't done the edges, right? I've been talking about that forever. Let's see if I can get the light going. Oh, it's so awkward here with the tire. So that's the floor, point with my pinky, and that's the wheel tub. So all I'm going to do is just clamp that together, give her a few welds, and then see up in there. I haven't done that. Just got to buzz that one little section there. It's probably 4 inches wide. I'll probably do it from the bottom because it's way easier to get to. And then I'm done. I'll seam seal it. Then all I got to do is the rockers. Same thing. The rocker up until the new piece, and I'm going to get that new outer quarter piece, which does, it kind of wraps down, and in hindsight I probably should have bought one on this side, but I'm so far in I'm not going to, so I don't know if I'm gonna bugger this together or what I'll do yet, but we'll figure that out. So that, if I get that done, then I mean, I think the metalwork and rust is basically done. I can just kind of start grinding my welds down, schmoo some filler on, and start tacking this thing. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. This side's really good. This door needs a little bit of love, and unfortunately the other side is pretty beat. Oh god, getting old. Ugh. But then it can really start going together once I get that going. So I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to film it because being under the car is shitty as it is. Pardon my language, that's how much you know I hate it, but it's just easy. I'll weld it, I'll show you guys how it turned out. And I'm still waiting, like I said, on that panel. And then I want to move on to the rear springs. I'm still waiting on them. So while I do that, I can probably start plumbing the front brakes, put the shocks in, do a few things like that. So that's kind of the game plan. Unfortunately, I've worked myself out of parts, which is a real pain. So I was kind of planning ahead on this thing. But I mean, there's always body work. Ugh, always body work. Here's where I'm going to leave it. So I seam sealed all in here, and just give it a quick coat of black paint. It's still wet, but it'll dry. You know, I used to really take a lot of time with seam sealer and make it nice and perfect and all that. Now I just stopped caring. Like, look at the factory did it. Just schmoo it on there and call her a day. Ultimately, it'll seal it. It's gonna be carpeted. Who really cares, right? Let's get her here in the cold. Shock myself. Okay, so same thing. Give it a little weld, a little schmoo, a little bit of paint. Whole seam across there looks good. Everyone's happy. Around this side, this is awkward. I don't know. I just kind of welded up the rocker. I didn't seam seal or nothing, because I'm still going to probably body work the bottom side a little bit. And I still got to do this, whatever I'm going to do. Plate it, whatever. So, but that's where I'm going to leave it for tonight, I think. We got a fair bit done. It's coming up on about 11 o'clock. I hate welding and then immediately going inside, so I'm just gonna hang out here, kind of clean up a little bit, maybe toss some Vice Strip Garage on the TV or something like that, and just chill out to make sure I don't have any catastrophic fires and burn my whole garage down. Because all that, the old seam sealer and all the insulation and all that stuff you always gotta be careful on. Even though this thing is completely stripped, there's still enough stuff to catch fire in this, whatever is rubberized junk. She likes to burn. So, that's where I'm leaving it. See you guys tomorrow. What's going on, guys? It's the next day. Not gonna lie, I'm doing a little bit of work. Then took a break for meatloaf. So you know how that goes. He's a little sick, so a little slow moving. What I did, you can see I got the pliers and stuff out, or the vice grips I should say. I just finished welding the lower rocker to the floor like I showed on the other side. I got the fenders to fit with a hammer. They fit like shit on this one, but whatever. So I got them on, so I'm good with that. Now I can start kind of building around it, because they're a pain to do. So I can finish the motor mounts up. I gotta weld the bottom side, and that'll be good. Doesn't touch steering or anything. I was gonna do the brakes, but I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then my quarter panel patch came in, so I think I'm gonna work on this instead. Now it's kind of hard to hold one-handed, but it goes only to about here. So, and cut that part out, but it's nice, it's going to join across, and this metal's not screwed up, so I can make it nice and flat, or whatever it is, so that'll be good. Go around the door jamb, have the wheel arch, then I just got to worry about this, hammer that in, pull that out, and while I'm at it, I'm going to mess with this door a little bit, I think. So, it's pretty hammered, but that box right there, starter kit. I have one of those stud puller things, which I've only used once, but I think with a big crease like that, I can just kind of put a bunch in and slide hammer it out a little bit. What do you think? We'll see what happens. But I'm going to grind away on that. I think I'm going to just kind of rough cut whatever miscellaneous out there so I can get behind this panel right there, because I'd like to knock that out as much as I can, because it has to go in here, out there, and then I can start fitting that panel up. And I think I'm going to use as much of that panel as I possibly can, because it's good metal. I mean, I think it goes up in every other thing I've ever done. It always ends up lining up kind of where the trim holes are, but this one does have the curve down, so we'll see. Yeah, I'll set the lapse camera up a little bit. We'll kind of start fitting it up. I'll mark it out. I'll kind of cut a section out of it. We'll grind that down and start working. Alright, so I did a little bit of screwing around. I cut the kind of rough section of the panel out, and as you can see in here, we're still nice and strong, and there's our brand new rockers. Just a little bit of rot on the wheel tub, but we're going to leave it, just schmoo it up with some seam sealer. So I've kind of roughly ground out where I'm going to weld it on. I don't think I'm going to go into the door jamb, because it's kind of a crappy stamping. So I'm going to knock this out, hammer and dolly it straight. I'm going to join it right on the bend at the edge, nice and strong there, and then it's easy to body work just the edge. And actually down here I started looking, as I started grinding, there's a little holey, so I believe the panel does go right over, and I'll join into my new panel. I assume they overlap. Actually I used this whole panel, I guess it was crappy there. So that's the plan there. I'll zip that out. Let's mess around with the hammer and dolly and a little bit of heat shrinking, and I mean it's definitely not awesome. You can see where the wheel tub actually goes right through like that, so you can't get right in the center. So I had to go through the window and then underneath. Now I'm leaving the tire on and all that. Obviously I'll take it off when I do it a little better, but what I wanted to get was that Coke canny pop in and out of it. Like, there's still dents and stuff, but it's where it's going to be now. So I'm happy with it. Just needs a little bit of fine tuning. The panel's going to go right down to here. So I'm going to do that. I haven't messed with this yet. It's so floppy that it's kind of hard doing. This has actually been cut and welded, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. I might have to strip it out and do something, but we'll figure that out after. Let's get the other panel on. This is now all pretty decent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut right on that fold line. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to leave it on the back so I have as long as possible. And the front side, I'm going to cut right down this edge. And that's it. And then I'll leave the bottom on. We'll join that to the brand new rocker. So I'm just going to tack weld it on. I'll put it on. I'll cut out everything I don't want, which I should be able to get to no problem. And yeah, tack it all on. So it's kind of strong, happy with it. Maybe I'll start working on the door or the quarter. Whatever I get done in the next little bit is kind of where it's going to be. Because then it's real slow to weld it on. So, put a lot of heat in the panel and whoop, mangle it. I think I mentioned in the last video, they don't make 56 quarters. Also, I'm too cheap for it. This panel is 150 bucks, which is a lot of money as it is. And we're going to fix this door. Door's actually good. It's solid the whole way down. It's just got a dent in it. So I'm hoping I can knock that out. Well, pull it out, slide hammer it out. But I want to get this quarter patch on today. I'll do the door tomorrow and call the video. So she's roughed in. It's just held on with some sheet metal screws. This is just kind of show you what I'm going to do. So I have it where I want it. I've trimmed the edges. So this little strip I took off, that's a little slant piece, and this is the in the door, because it's just a straight up different shape. I always keep these because you know when you're going to need a miscellaneous bend. So that's that. It's currently overlapping, so what I'm going to do is I cut it right at the weld line, the old panel, so I'll just zip that little, like this little corner off, and I can buzz that in and weld it, no big deal. In here, I'll just kind of kiss this with the grinder, because I just kind of rough cut this, so it becomes just, nice and smooth. You don't want to grind too much and the metal becomes thin, but I can just buzz that in, and now you're working just the corner for body work, which is nothing. At the top, it's on here because I'm gonna run a line across with a Sharpie, and I'm probably gonna leave, I don't know, an inch or so worth of material so I can just put a few screws in, and then I'll work my grinder along, and I can still get to the back side through the window on that side, and then the wheel well in the back. And back here, I can get to the whole piece. So I got some material there. I'll just kind of zip that down. It'll come out, and then weld it on. Now, the shitty part about reproduction panels, and it never ends. I put the same panels on my 55, but then I radiused the wheel well, so it was kind of irrelevant. But if you look, I'm just gonna show my camera. This stamping is so soft, like it's very rounded on the edge, versus the car is a very hard line. So that's always the problem with extra panels, right? I mean, what are you gonna do? We'll probably end up softening up the quarter with some just some filler and stuff. Like I got a hammer and dolly all in here, but again, once I weld that in, it'll have some more strength to it. I can then work that out, work there a little bit. There's a little bit of a divot there, and then the quarter's just whatever. That is what it is. So I'll trace it. We'll set the laps up. I'll take it off. We'll cut a lot of it out, and we'll start kind of just tack welding into place. Nothing too crazy. So now you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Oh, I forgot to weld the front, but go back and do that real quick. Anyways, so like I'm just welding right in the seam. So I'll just, once it's welded, just, you know, clean it up with a grinder and no one will ever know. Across here went nice. Right at the back, just right here, it still has a little curve in. It'll show up on camera, but what's good is this metal wants to be flat. So now I can just beat this section here until the rest of the panel kind of comes out, and I'll finish burning it in. And I got a lot of screwing around to do, obviously, because this is not gonna line up at all, going from a rounded edge to a squared off edge, but whatever, it's on. We're doing pretty good. I'm gonna finish welding up in here. Like I said, it's gonna zip right where the weld is and then plug it all together. And it's getting a little late. It's about 10 o'clock, but I would like to see if I can get this door pulled out. So I might just start working on that too, and then kind of call it for the night. And then tomorrow will be a jam session of welding and grinding, but then that's done. This is my favorite part right here. You cut out all the old, shitty, rusty metal, and you just kind of tack weld on the panel, and it immediately looks like a car. Especially on camera, it looks way better. But, okay, I'll get that done. I'll pull the machine out here. We'll just start knocking this out a little bit. I've convinced myself. Alright. Well, first off, I feel like I should have started the video by saying none of this is a tutorial, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of hacking based on what I've seen on the internet. And all I'm trying to do is make it look nice enough that I can load it up with filler and not feel guilty about it. So this little stud puller comes with a, well, I bought these, I guess. A bunch of these little studs. So you jam in the gun. It basically, you're welding them on, so it's going to end up sticking out, these little tangs. And then it comes with this little slide hammer. It has a set of jaws in it. You clamp them on, and then you just knock it out, and it pulls it out. So we're going to go ahead and put a schwack load of these in. I'll just do a little section right here, see how it goes, and then we'll maybe we'll try to do the rest on a time lapse. So you just kind of put it in. You have to ground the tip of the gun to the door or the metal. That was a terrible ground. That was a little bit too long, so you want to kind of pull the trigger for a second or a half a second or whatever it says there. I generally space them pretty close together. These things are cheap and I'm not that good. And if you do a crappy job putting them on, they pop off. And I'm just kind of putting these right on the crease, so we're going to try and pull right on the center of it as best we can. Throw it on. So that's kind of the idea. Now we're going to want to slide this on. Let's just go. Tightened up, let's give her a, whoa, pull it out big time. Stat wants to come out, may have been a little too much. So I don't know how it's going to show up. Just even, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of coming out. So I'll end up putting them all the way across there, and we'll go from there. It's not, I mean, again, it's not going to be perfect, but it took that real flex out of it. The door's got a lot right there. The problem is when you crease a door like this, you stretch all the metal. So there ends up being kind of too much metal. So that's why it does that Coke candy thing, but we'll get the rest of this going. I probably put way too many on here. I can probably space them out a little further. Actually, right here, it's not really too bad at all. At the front, it's a little tighter, so I'll get working on that. Alright, well, we're gonna be about midnight. The door, you know, it came out pretty good right there and down there, right in this section there. I may just put a few more on there and knock them out, but I'll do that tomorrow. It's just got a little bit of a deep V there. Up front came out nice, so, I mean, hey, I am, again, no expert. Actually, if you are an expert, comment below, but I mean, it's good enough for me. I'll put some filler on there. It's not going to be an embarrassing amount by any means. But yeah, tomorrow, like I said, I just got that seam right there. There'll be a lot of hammering and bashing, screwing around. The quarter has some more creases in it. We'll probably work on that down the road. A few people are wanting this quarter done. They was just driving them nuts, and I don't blame them. It's driving me crazy too. The parts for the springs, the relocation kit, should be in tomorrow. But I think I'll be on the next video. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to knock this out. So I'll finish welding it. We'll grind it all. Finish the rocker. We can finish the inner rocker and wheel tub, because now it's all one piece. And man, we might screw around a little bit more with this, but probably not too much. It's probably just going to be a bunch of welding. Get the metal work done and go from there. So that's our news tonight. It's nap time for me. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Do me a favor. It makes a huge difference. And like the video right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, next day. Let's finish this video up. So I think it'd be pretty simple. You know, the door's good enough for now. I'm not going to worry about that at all. I'm going to clean up. So I made a hell of a mess, and I did nothing yesterday. And went to bed, went to work, just got home. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to weld everything in. I'm going to grind it all down. And just kind of have it like that, and I think that's where I'm going to end it. I will do the underside, but I'm not going to film that. You saw the other side. It's the same thing. Get that dialed together and finish up in there, which same thing. Seam seal it, do all that, but that's all boring. Maybe we'll go over that in another video or something like that after it's done work. But I'll set the lapse camera up. We'll buzzer in. It's going to be pretty slow moving, especially kind of, I don't want to... completely fold this thing all together. It's actually got a fair bit of strength back now. It's all kind of knocked out, and I put a little bit of heat in it. Doesn't have that Coke can kind of vibe to it. I'm gonna weld it all in. There's a big kind of swoop in there, so I can get in there and hammer it out once I put a few more welds and has a little bit more strength, and just keep this panel going straight. So I'll probably have to go all the way in this area. So that's what we're gonna do today. Grind it off, bring it back, sign off for the next one. was a lot of screwing around. As always, you gotta kind of go kind of slow so you don't warp the panel or nothing. Which again, the rest of the panel is so beat up. Well, the car. But yeah, that's the way it kind of goes. So, I mean, we're far from perfect, but it's all in there. Still needs lots of grinding, but you know, it's good enough. I gotta get some more of my little belt grinder belts for the attachment for the tool. Look at that. Look at that door, yeah. It's almost like I kind of know what I'm doing. Again, don't take my advice. Up here is nice. It's real flat, no real issues. A little bit of filler, that'll be fine. I spent a bunch of time working it out back here, so it's not bad right there. Up here's a pain, so I'm gonna have to try and, unfortunately, you gotta get through in there somehow. I don't know what I'm gonna do there. Maybe a bit more heat and stuff. Back here is nice. Again, it's actually stepped down a little. The only thing I'm going to run into next is going to be the wheel lip. So you can see they are lined up. Now again, I use this piece here as a filler piece. I don't know what I'm going to do. I probably will chop that out and have to transition the more round to the more squared out lip. It's also beat to hell back here. So I got well, a bunch of hammer and dolly work to make that look a little bit better, because it's all flattened out and needs a little bit of a curve to it to match this panel. But yeah, I don't know. We'll take a few steps back. I think it's looking pretty darn good. I mean, the door, if you put a little bit of primer on it, you never know. So that's anyways where I'm going to leave this video. Hopefully it's something you guys enjoyed, a bunch of metal work. I think what I'm going to do on my own time is I'll finish off. I didn't weld the bottom side of that to the inner rocker. I'll do that and finish seam sealing that back corner. But I mean, really, you saw the other side, you saw everything else. It's pretty simple stuff. I'll just put a floor jack on it with a block of wood to fold it where I want it, and that's it. I'm going to think about that rear quarter for a bit and decide what I want to do. I'm sure it'll be butchery and welding, but it'll go together. I actually stopped welding because I had a delivery of parts. So this is the main reason I'm done with bodywork. So I got new parts. Leaf springs came in, and I got this.
Oh,
just for the spring relocation kit. So that's all gonna go on. U-bolts, shackles, set the rear end and everything. I'm gonna try not to. Wow, do we ever get a lot of physical dit pics, eh? So that's what we're gonna work on next. That's the end of this video, the rear end, because it's just welded right to the frame right now. It'll actually have suspension. That's where I'm leaving it. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, give Danielle a like.
Hi.
Maybe get her a few more ad dollars so she has to wear this crappy ass sweater.
I love this sweater.
Alright guys, see you in the next one.